Hey, welcome to Beer Philosophy. Cheers. So I want to talk about morality and my current position on that. So what is morality? Ethics versus morality. I don't know, but so right now I'm just talking about what is right and wrong. I don't want to give a too lengthy definition of those things. But basically, I believe there are things that are right and wrong. So I mean, not to be trite, but I think that murder is wrong, for example. Despite people like Jordan Peterson saying that I have a choice: either I have to be a Christian or secretly, right? So despite professing to be an atheist, like no, you're actually a Christian, or you have to be okay with murder. So that's a false dichotomy. I don't think that's true. I would argue that I am both an atheist and someone who believes that murder is wrong. Now, I don't believe that there's any kind of absolute morality, if you will, any kind of objective morality. In fact, I fail to see how such a thing is possible. I think, historically, back when I was a Christian, I would have told you that I believed in an absolute morality from, God, Yahweh, the lawgiver. That Yahweh sort of told us what is right and what is wrong based on, his. Basically whatever he says is right and wrong, that's what it is. Now, here's the challenge I have with that. Is it merely Yahweh's preferences? You're like, yeah, I kind of like this, I kind of like that, so this is right, this is wrong. In that case, it's not objective morality. Or is Yahweh merely pointing to some other objective morality kind of outside and superseding or above him? And if so, then I don't need Yahweh. I can just look to that objective morality to do what's right. So in other words, having a god or gods will not save you from this problem. Of being, well, you got to tell me, where is this coming from? Where are you basing this claim of absolute morality on? What are you basing that on? And I've never heard a satisfactory answer. The answers people tend to give are things like, "Oh, God says," and it's not very satisfying. Because what's the difference between, well, maybe I say, and they'll say, well, you're not God. Like, yeah, true, that is true. But even if I was God or if there is a God, it's just a preference of that God or gods. So unless they're pointing to something outside of themselves, in which case, well, tell me about that. But so far, no one ever has been able to tell me about any kind of objective standard for morality. So I kind of view it a little bit like saying what's up and down. These directions. I believe in up and down, right? So just like I might believe there's good and evil, if you will, right and wrong. I believe there is such a thing as up and such a thing as down. However, it's contextual based on where you are. So, I happen to be on this planet Earth, and, so we kind of define down towards the center of the planet to be, well, sorry, it's circular, I use down, but we define the direction toward the center of the planet to be down, and of course, people on the opposite side of the planet view the other direction to be down from their perspective, and we're both right. Now, this is different from saying I think that morality is relative. It's a little hard for me to articulate. Perhaps it's best done in a conversation with someone. But I'm leery of people who might say something like, "Oh, morality is just relative. Whatever you think is right is okay." Because I worry about, people just kind of then saying anything arbitrarily is right or wrong. In which case, well, why have the concept? And maybe there's a point there of like, do we need this concept of morality? I'm not convinced that we do. Maybe we could just say, look, if you want this goal, here are some pathways to it. Here's a way to get there. And so that's like an empirical question. We can actually test that and see what's true. So I don't believe in absolute morality. Certainly, I'm skeptical and leery of what's often called relative morality. And so perhaps my suggestion is that we sidestep the whole issue and not talk about good or evil, not talk about morality, instead talk about values, goals, and strategies for how to get there. These are empirical questions.